I acknowledge to you, an almost perfect podcast listener, I acknowledge the dorkiness of my jokes and my humor. I'm okay with that. Welcome back, everyone, to an almost perfect podcast. I am John, and today I am here with you. I'm just you. It's you and me. That's all there is today. It has been a while since we have recorded anything, and we wanted to make sure you knew that we were still around. We hadn't gone anywhere. So today's episode is brought to you by procrastination and overcommitment. How about that? I've been busy with a lot of projects. Joseph's been busy with some projects he's working on. The guy's got two churches that he pastors. Tom's been living his great life. I think he's out on vacation right now. He's enjoying life, and just schedules and everything else just haven't worked well. I don't even think we did it on purpose. Like, oh, let's take a break. It just kind of happened, and then boom, here we are. So, but we did want to tell you that we hope to be back soon. I think we'll be back pretty soon. I don't know how the world has managed without us being here every week. And who knows, maybe the truth is like the world hasn't. I mean, because have you been paying attention to what's been going on? Maybe the world needs an almost perfect podcast to come back, but we're almost back. So thanks for thinking about us and for wondering where we were. Tom and I had actually talked about it, and he said, well, if we do decide we have to stop, we should at least go out with a bang, one more episode. But I don't think we have any idea that we'll stop this anytime soon, for good or for bad. You can't get rid of us. We're like a bad sermon that just can't end, right? You listen to one of those, you're like, is that pastor ever gonna be done? Does he know what time it is? Does she know how hungry I am? So yeah, we're used to that. So yeah, we're not going anywhere, and we've been putting some ideas together, and hopefully have some good conversations to start up maybe in a couple weeks. I've been thinking about getting some of those colleagues back who've been on before, and some new ones that I've invited and just hadn't worked out. And I think you'll enjoy some of those conversations that we're thinking about. In the meantime, what do you do? I don't know. Love Jesus. Like, do what you've been doing. Stay focused on growing and connecting with other people, connecting with God. That was, if you remember, some of you, that was the point of an almost perfect podcast, even before we called it that. It was the year 2020, and you all know what the year 2020 was like. And we had a group of pastors from the Corpus Christi area that would meet for breakfast, and of course, we didn't meet for breakfast in 2020, and so we decided, hey, let's try this. It's just a way to have some conversation, but then also maybe give our people something to think about from a pastor's perspective that has nothing to do with a sermon, right? You're not listening to a sermon when you hear a podcast like this. By the way, I'm just kind of wondering, I guess maybe it depends on how long I do go in this video. Like, would this count as an official episode? I don't know what number it would be. It would be 100 something. If we would stay on track like like we're supposed to, we'd be in the 200s by now for sure. But things happen. So maybe this will count as an episode, and maybe it won't. Maybe it doesn't matter. Who cares? Who's counting? But anyway, we decided to meet. We thought, this is a way to just have some conversations that we don't always get to have with you all, our parishioners, on a regular basis. So this gives us a chance to do that and to unpack some things and to have conversations with other people as well, and to hear about some of the goofy things that are happening in the world. We like to do that as well. What else? What else can I pretend that I'm doing so that we can make this count as an episode? Which again doesn't matter, right? This isn't like I hope we joke about sponsorships and all that kind of stuff, but we get nothing from this. This is just us having a podcast. Haven't even made official merch. Like, what kind of podcast are we? We don't even have official merch. So Yeah. If we were to ever really like go out, then maybe that would make us be here every week. But that's not what this is about. Whataburger, I mean, if you're interested, we're interested too. We can make something work. Don't misunderstand me, right? But that's just not what we're doing. So I went to an event actually last weekend, and it was a bingo event for a fundraiser. And one of the gifts, they had some good prizes, and one of the gifts was a year's worth of Whataburger. If you won, and of course, I didn't win at all. I didn't win anything at this bingo event. And somebody asked me, "Oh, did you have a good time?" No, I didn't have a good time. Bingo is dumb. Like, what kind of game is this? I didn't win anything. Of course, I didn't have a good time. So Whataburger. I mean, if you're just saying. So what else? I don't know. We've been busy, right? Pastor stuff. This was Pastor Appreciation Month, and it's always kind of weird for me. I'm one of the people that I feel uncomfortable. I think most pastors probably feel uncomfortable with Pastor Appreciation Sunday, Pastor Appreciation Month, right? But I will always want to make sure that I take that time to appreciate the pastors in my life that have shaped me. I put a post online, and I recognized some people that early on were, and in a lot of ways still are, influences to me in a good way too. I don't mean like they were like, oh, I don't want to be that kind of pastor, right? But like people who just I feel like people hear, and you hear it a lot, where this pastor did some stuff that pastors should not be doing at all. And you have to know, when I read those stories, it makes me more upset than it probably ever makes you. Um, and sometimes I think when people read one story like that, another story like that, and then they read about some pastor driving his Bentley into the worship space and all this ridiculous stuff. I think people hear that and I feel like, yeah, that's pastors. Like, no, 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 no. Um, are there people who use ministry for their own personal gain? You better believe it. Has that always been true? You better believe it. I think we even see examples in Scripture itself, right, where people want to use um, this idea of the message of Jesus and use it for some kind of personal gain. So that still happens today, and it's done in egregious ways, of course. And I think you should call out pastors. Pastors should call out pastors. Church leadership should call out pastors when that happens. There should be real accountability. I'm probably more on the strict end because of how I think how important this vocation is. That when you do something to break the trust, or you have tendencies for spiritual abuse, things like that, like getting back in should be pretty difficult. Right? It should be very difficult. And not to say that you're a bad person from now on, and we're taking you out of the Lamb's Book of Life. I'm not. That's not what I'm talking about. But like to be in that position again after something where you haven't been held accountable for. And some of these cases, we're talking illegal activity, right? No. So I say all that because I think people we hear these stories, you think, oh, that's what pastors are. Most of us are just trying to love Jesus and trying to love the people that Jesus puts into our life. I think most of the pastors you probably know are worn out. Um, it's hard to carry burdens that other people are carrying on a consistent basis, just spiritually and emotionally, just to hear um, what everybody goes through. I mean, again, that's we understand as a calling. Not everybody should be doing that because not everybody can carry that. Not everybody can be trusted with that. And I even feel weird having this conversation because then I wonder, like, this sounds so like, ooh, wow, John, you're the one of the ones who can do that. It's a calling, right? You don't want me like working on you medically because that's a skill and a calling, and so is this, right? And so most of the pastors are doing their best. They're probably stressed out. They're probably trying to struggle greatly with keeping this balance of being home but being attentive to the needs of the church. We created this system where we got to be in meetings and all this other stuff, and don't ask me about that because you probably guess how I feel. But there's still that, like, how do I balance that well to do the job part of this calling well, but also take care of my family and take care of myself. What? I'm supposed to exercise? What? I'm supposed to rest? What? I'm supposed to get away? Right. So most of the pastors, are probably struggling with that in some way. Right. Even if they hide it well. So I encourage you to talk to your pastor. Pray for your pastor. Of course, pray for your pastor. I know a lot of people at Kelsey tell me that that's a part of their prayer life, to pray for their pastor. Always has been, right? It has nothing to do with me. It's just they know that is important. And so I appreciate that greatly. And so I took time, as I usually do in October, to post a pastor appreciation message to those people who they were pretty influential. And I still think about the witness. Some of them are no longer with us. They were with Jesus, and they could care less about your next finance meeting at all. They're living in glory right now. Amen. But those people, yeah, they poured into me in their way, whether they realized it or not, whether they did it on purpose or not. And I think that's part of what it means to lead a people. You do well by praying for your people, by walking with your people, loving them as best you can. And so that's what most pastors are doing, right? And I know, again, the ones who mess up are the ones who get the headlines, and those are the the parodies that get made, and that begins to be that kind of the thought of what pastors do or try to be. I ain't trying to be no mega church pastor. No, thank you. I don't think most of us would want to do that either. Yeah, most pastors, are just trying to be faithful to their calling. So, um, but yeah, so hey, that's good stuff, right? So that kind of counts as like episode material. I mean, come on. What more do you want? What more do you want from a pastor? Golly. I've been thinking about us talking about ideas like being frustrated and what we do with frustration with ourselves, frustration with others. Watch this, frustration even with God. Can you be frustrated with God and live to tell about it? Maybe that's a good conversation for us to have. Been thinking about that. I've been thinking about how we can um, tie in ideas about what it means to like, intentionally live into community, which I feel like if we're going to live in community, we have to talk about fried chicken at some point. I mean, fried chicken, right? And I just noticed my hair is a mess. We had our first cold. Is this a cold front or a cool front? I can never. The first one, I don't know. And the wind's blowing hard. Well, my hair's been going everywhere. So I apologize. I apologize for not putting my moco de gorilla in my hair for this occasion. I didn't know I was going to do this right now. I had planned to do it. I thought about doing it, and then I just decided before I head out, let me do that now. So, what else has been going on? Sheesh, a lot's going on since we last been here. I mean, let's talk about it. I mean, Spurs are doing good, huh? Eagles are doing good, huh? Some of you care to not care. The People's House is undergoing some changes. People are worried about some things that could be happening, right? Um, well, I don't even want to get into this. There's just so much going on right now. This was not the time for us to take a holy hiatus, Tom and Joseph. Joseph did tell me, though, during this time, he's going to take a step back anyway. And when he can, he'll try to pop in. He's like I said, he's pretty busy. Those of you that know Joseph, he has the two churches, he has the family, he has these projects he's a part of and things that he's doing. And so yeah, we'll give him a week off, but we're not going to pay him while he's off because none of us get paid. All right, anything else? I'm gonna make sure I wrote a few notes just to make sure. I wrote down maybe I should interview myself, or maybe I should like interview and be like Tom and Joseph. But then I thought, nah, I don't want to. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. So, anything else? I wrote. I'm so. I acknowledge to you, an almost perfect podcast listener. I acknowledge the dorkiness of my jokes and my humor. I'm okay with that. Okay. Now, don't ever think that I'm trying to be like some like comedian extraordinaire. I know who I am, and I'm comfortable with that. So one of the things I wrote down, I thought I should tell you that our episode is sponsored by Awkward Silences. Or coffee that's been church coffee that's been sitting out since last Sunday. We don't serve coffee at our church. Does that mean we're not cool? Our church, of course, those of you who are part of Kelsey, been to Kelsey, maybe like we don't really have like I see a lot of churches they have like a big open space that's available to them like before they get into the sanctuary, and so maybe you can meet outside. Our church doesn't have that. Our church is it was constructed in the 60s, I think mid 60s. And so, you see those doors, you open the doors, there's a small room, narthex, if you will. And then that opens in the sanctuary. And that small room, there's no room for us to kind of congregate. So, like when church is over, when worship is over on a Sunday morning, we congregate outside. And so there's no place like to meet beforehand. We have an office building. It's the old parsonage. So it's an old house. There's a Sunday school that meets in there. We have an education building on the other side of the block. But to meet there, to mingle, to have coffee, it just doesn't it doesn't really work. Maybe we can make it work. Maybe we should, but we don't have coffee. Every once in a while, I try to once a month try to get in the habit of having something after worship, donuts, because we're so healthy, or maybe some other kind of snack. Somebody brought cookies last month, I think, and whoever that is, maybe should bring more cookies this month. All right, or turkey legs. What about turkey legs? Turkey legs for the after worship conversation. I mean, could that not be a thing that we can work on? I mean, do we not love Jesus enough to have turkey legs for after worship conversation? So anyway, I don't know. Here's the thing. People don't believe this when I tell them. I'm actually an introvert. Like, there's a couple of words. There's probably a lot of words for people like me, but there's a couple of words like you're introvert and extrovert kind of mixed together. And I kind of am, I'm kind of not, like, because of what I do, that vocation, like there is being extrovert, being an extroverted person is helpful. And I should do that, because if I were to really lean into my introvertedness, is that right? Then I probably wouldn't reach out to people. I wouldn't talk to as many people as I do, right? And so, like, there's that imbalance again. Like, there's who I am, but there's also who I need to be for my job. So, I don't, I don't think I talk a lot. I'm not good at small talk. Like, I'm like, hi, right? Um, and so, like, I feel awkward. It's been just under 20 minutes. And I don't know how I did this. That's why I had a lot of stuff written down so I can make sure, like, yeah, like I don't want to just be up here like, so what do you want to talk about? I don't know. What do you want to talk about? I don't know. What do you want to talk about? So anyway, I think I'm going to count this as an episode. 20 minutes. We usually do 40 minutes, anywhere from 35 to 40 minutes. But that's between three of us, sometimes four of us. I don't think we've ever had five people. Somehow it always worked out when we had somebody come on, one of us had to miss. And so we always had that balance. I don't think we've ever had four. I didn't even tell you about Wade. Wade came back and they said, I don't think I can be back. He does a lot of good stuff too, where he's at. And so it just didn't work out. So, but maybe we'll wrangle him back every once in a while as well. So I forgot what I was saying. How do people do this on the radio? Do you still listen to like radio shows? Like, people do this every day for like hours at a time. I'm like, that doesn't sound like a job I want. I don't know. Maybe if I had interaction, yeah, I can do that. But even like in interaction, like sometimes, and I'm one of these people like I do better. Say you and I are having a conversation, and I'm listening to you, and I'm like, oh, that's good stuff, and I'm thinking about what you're saying, and then like hours later, after I have time to process and think about more, and then I'm like, ah, here's what I should have said. Right, like in the moment, I'm like, I'm too busy. Like, oh, that's good. I hadn't thought about that. Man, this guy is smart, right? This girl know what she's talking about, and so it takes me a while to catch up, right? So like, if we were start a conversation right now, talk for 5 minutes, and then break, come back in 3 hours, I would wow you with some good conversation. But at the moment, I'm not very like good. I'm not good at it. So, and people are like, yeah, you just rambled for 21 minutes. Like, John, we don't believe you. It's trust me. You should do things that you don't think you're good at, do things that make you uncomfortable, and just see what happens. And that's kind of what I'm doing today, right? Joseph, Tom, who needs them? I'll just do this every week myself. No, I won't do that. That's not really what I'm about. I do have a. People have called it a podcast. I do. I write a daily devotional Monday through Friday. Um, Anybody can get it. It's free, right? It's not one of them things where I'm trying to promote something. It's just let's just think about Jesus today. Think about discipleship. It's a discipleship. I often say, it's not the upper room. Some of you in the upper room devotional, some of those are very encouraging, and they're just, but nah, mine can get a little chippy sometimes, and so that's just, I'm there's a teacher that I heard once, and I've heard a lot of, and I remember him saying once that we dabble in discipleship. And I think that's true. And so I write a daily devotional that does not dabble in discipleship. And so it's Monday through Friday. I send it out through email, but I also do an audio recording of it. So every day, I read it, I record, I use this microphone and stuff I had before me here, and so some people call that a podcast because they don't have the email, but I guess, right, I do the same thing every year. That thing's evolved too, and I've written over 1,400 of them. That started out, I started writing an email newsletter back in like I guess 2001, maybe. Was it that far back? Something somewhere. No, maybe not that far back. Maybe about 2008, 9. And it was just mostly it was like, here's what's happening at church this week. Don't forget. And I would kind of tie in like a mini devotion kind of thought, right? And then it just got like, well, that's kind of boring. Like every week, I'm like, don't forget about this. And every month, it's like, hey, it's time for this again. So I just decided, I just like focus on writing an devotional, and so that's what I started doing. And then I got to thinking, well, I know a lot of people don't like to read. Like if it's if it's more than a Facebook post, they're like, eh. So I thought, well, it'd be helpful. Maybe I just record them, and that became a thing as well. And so it's been several years I've done that. If you want to read that or listen to that, let me know, and I'll send you where to find that. And that's something you can. So that's the closest thing I have to a podcast by myself. but I don't know that I could do one by myself. I don't know that I want to do one by myself. Like I say that, but I should have stopped 5 minutes ago here. Maybe I'm confessing something to you that I really do want to do. So anyway, okay, friends, thank you for caring for us. Some of you, a lot of you are part of our churches, or you at least know our churches, and so you're part of our ministry together. And so thank you for that. Thank you for listening here. Thank you for the engagement. I should learn to give you our email address, so that you can email us stuff if need be. Of course, we post a lot of our stuff, our episodes on Facebook, so you can message us on Facebook. Let me see. I'm gonna, just to say that I did it, I'm gonna give you an email address that you can use. And I'll even put it on here. Watch this. Watch what I can do, y'all. Maybe I can do it. Come on, the internet. All right, watch this. So I'm just gonna copy this here. If you ever have something you want to share, something you want to talk about, anything you want to comment on that we've talked about, or anything you want to complain about, just email us at an almost perfect podcast at gmail.com. See, we don't even pay anymore for, I was paying for a website. We went to a free website, so we don't have to worry about that. But that's our email address, and almost perfect podcast at gmail.com. Send us a message. Let us know what you're thinking about. Maybe watch some old episodes. If you're new, kind of know what we're about. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Hey, love you all. God be with you.